Hello and welcome to this week's 3-2-1. 3 comments on the Parsha, 2 minutes, 1 insight. The Parsha this week is the beginning of the books of Exodus, and we get the story of Shifra and Puah. Shifra and Puah, besides having 2 delightful names, one of which sounds hilarious and one of which is my daughter's middle name, are these 2 midwives. The best part about this story is it's totally unnecessary. In fact, there's a reasonable chance you've never heard it. If I pulled it out of the Bible, Judaism would not change. We would have our course forward. So it's added in because it had such emotional impact, or it teaches us something, or it's crucial in some other way. Pharaoh says, kill all the firstborn Hebrew sons, and these 2 midwives show up and say, oh, we tried, but they have the baby's so fast before we get there, and then we can't find him. I don't know. It doesn't work. They basically lie in order to try and keep these babies alive. They're heroes in every possible sense of a world. They are women who stand up in a world where men have all of the power and fight for people, for the youngest and most vulnerable around. It's amazing. Which is point 1. Point 2 is there's actually a debate if they are midwives to the Hebrew people or Hebrew midwives. You could read the story either way. Either they're Egyptians standing up for these babies, or they're Hebrew midwives thinking smart and carefully. And the third comment is the way in which they are able to fight back is both absurd and ultimately ineffective. It's absurd because I don't even know what that means. What does it mean you had the baby quickly, so now it's alive and that's the way it worked? I don't understand how that's a long-term plan. And even more than that, eventually Pharaoh then just sends his soldiers to do the work also. So what are we left with? What do we walk away with? And I think that the fundamental truth is that when we think of power, we often think of the plagues. We think of might. We think of physical strength and the ability to fight back. But the Bible constantly gives us examples and reminders that there's another kind of power. And that in either case, that power is not always 100% effective. In fact, sometimes there's a counter move that works again, but that doesn't mean that we get to sit idly by. That doesn't mean that when we are the ones in the situation, that we can just go along with it. The beautiful thing about these 2 amazing women is that it challenges each of us in our day-to-day lives to not just accept the world as it is, but use the might of our minds and the ability of our hearts to see a better path forward and to do everything we can to make that the case. This Shabbat, I don't know if by the time you're hearing, watching, listening to this, if there will have been or not been a deal for the hostages to start coming home, but we certainly can imagine those who could stand up, those who have done right in the face of impossible wrong, those who have decided that it doesn't have to be the way it has been presented. With that, I will say Shabbat Shalom and God bless Shifra and Puah.